Well, good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you from my home here in Columbus. I want to thank all my loyal viewers out there here on YouTube land. I got the news of the day. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. The Cincinnati Reds were winners last night over the Cleveland Indians 9-2. As Johnny Cueto threw his fourth complete game of the season, which had a this game had a bizarre play involving Cleveland runner David Murphy. As the second ball was out on the field, he got pulled and he was tagged out. The Reds won last night 9-2. So congratulations to them. They're crawling right back into the Central Division race. I'll get back to that in just a second. Also out west last night, in a battle of Los Angeles, the Dodgers beat the Angels 9-2, 5-4 in a wild walk-off fashion. When Clayton Kershaw looked positively human last night, the Dodgers concocted a way to win here. And here's what happened: Juan Uribe scored on David Freese's throwing error in the ninth, so the Dodgers went on to even the freeway series with a 5-4 victory last night. I think the rubber matches today. We'll see what happens out west. I think the game starts at 10 o'clock tonight, as I know it's a late game because it's going to be about 10 o'clock East Coast time when the game gets going. Well, I think so. I'll double check anyway. The other scores from last night: the Tigers beat the Yankees 4-3 in 12 innings last night. The Mets beat the Nationals 6-1. The Phillies beat the Astros 2-1 in 15 innings last. That was a 15 inning marathon last night. Miami beat Pittsburgh 6-3. Baltimore beat Toronto 9-3. The Rangers humiliated the White Sox 16-0 last night. The Brewers beat the Giants 4-3 last night. The Twins were winners last night 3-1 over San Diego. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Boston Red Sox 3-2. The Cubs beat the Rockies 6-5 in 12 innings last night. The Royals beat the Diamondbacks 12-2 last night. Oakland beat Tampa Bay in a 3-0 shutout. And Seattle beat Atlanta 4-2. So here's how things stand right now at the moment in the American in the division races right now. So here's how we stand. The Orioles lead by 5 over the Blue Jays. The Tigers lead by 4.5 over the Kansas City Royals. And out west, the Oakland A's, the team with the best record in baseball, they have a 2-game lead right now over Los Angeles. Actually, the Angels. My apologies there. In the National League East, the Nationals, surprise watching the Nationals lead by 3 over the Atlanta Braves. The Dodgers lead by 2.5 over the Giants. And then the Central Division, the National League Central, that is the division to watch because just about anything can happen. Because I mean, right now, the Brewers have a 1-game lead over the Cardinals, but the Pittsburgh Pirates are only 2.5 games out. But don't be surprised because the Cincinnati Reds are actually climbing back into this thing, and they're actually back in striking distance. So we'll see what happens going down the stretch. We'll see what happens going down the stretch, and I got a lot. And if I was a betting man, I would not want to put any money down because just about anything can happen. So all 3 divisions in the National League are every division right now is pretty much still up for grabs. But we'll see what happens going down the stretch. It's not too early to be talking about October. We're only 2 months away from the postseason. But we'll see what happens from there. MLB Commissioner Bud Selig is leaving when his term is up in January 2015, and next week there's going to be a vote in Baltimore amongst the owners, and the owners have to for a new commissioner to be elected, that person has to pull 23 out of 30 vote. Actually, what happens is the 3 candidates for his job are Major League Major League Baseball Chief Operating Officer Rob Manfred, MLB Executive Vice President of Business Tim Bronson, and Boston Red Sox Chairman Tom Warner. The owners will vote on August 14th, which is next Wednesday, which I think is next Thursday. They're going to vote. They're going to vote on this. And for a candidate to be elected, a candidate needs 23 of the 30 owners to get elected. So good luck to all 3 candidates. I want to thank you. So good luck to all 3 of you. We'll see what happens next week. And as far as Mr. Bud Selig goes, sir, you are going on my wall of honor. I want to thank you for everything you've done for the game. You have brought on Jackie Robinson Day. You honored some of the great players of the time. You have been a great commissioner. My hat's off to you. So with that in mind, Mr. Bud Selig, you, sir, are going on my wall of honor. And that is a big honor for you, as far as I'm concerned. But you know something? Somebody asked me the other day. I was on YouTube the other day looking at some of the best play-by-play announcers in the business. So I decided to come up with a best and the worst list. I'm going to do my worst list first to kind of show you how I actually feel about some of these guys. ESPN's Bill Rafferty, every time he calls college basketball, he drives me nuts. I cannot stand him. He's a loudmouth. He's out of control. And I mean, like, man, you can barely understand what he's saying half the time because he's nothing but a moron. And he's number 5 on my worst list is Bill Rapper. Number 4 on my worst list. You hated him. You couldn't stand him when he did Monday Night Football. I couldn't stand him when he was buddy with Muhammad Ali. You know who I'm talking about, folks. Mr. Howard Cosell. He was a loudmouth. Nobody couldn't stand him. Everybody hated him when he did Monday Night Football. Everybody hated him when he was with Muhammad Ali. I mean, you want to talk a couple of big loudmouths? That's all you need to know. Number 3, Bob Costas. He's a moron. I cannot stand listening to him because he thinks he's all that. He thinks he knows what he's talking about. But he's got to be the biggest idiot I've ever laid my eyes on. So, Bob Costas, you'll never get anything from me. Number 2 on my worst list, Joe Buck. I've had a lot of respect for his daddy. His dad was one of the best in the business. But Joe, you're nothing but a carbon copy. Joe. I gotta tell you, Joe Buck. Let me tell you something. All you have done with Fox Sports since you've been with Fox Sports, all you have done is kiss the St. Louis Cardinals and bury your face at the backside of the New York Yankees. But I got news for you. The Yankees are not going to make the playoffs. I got news for you. If you want a Yankees-Cardinals World Series, forget it. It ain't happening. So you can forget that right now. And number 1 on my list, if you folks ever watch Chicago White Sox baseball, whenever they have the White Sox on WGN, all you got to know is Hawk Harrelson. He's nothing but a moron. He doesn't have a brain. He's calling the game. It's a miracle he hasn't gotten any action taken against him by WGN out of Chicago, or he hasn't had any action taken against Major League Baseball because he's called out umpires. He's done the worst thing in the world. He's called out umpires. He thinks he's all that. He don't have a brain. And I mean, you want to talk about Porky Pig? All you got to do is talk about somebody. You might as well be friends with he sounds like Jimmy Swaggart almost. He thinks he's all that. He ain't nothing to me. So that's my worst list. My best list are the best guys in the business. Number 5, Cleveland Indians fans. If you listen to him on WTM Radio 1100 out of Cleveland, or if you listen to him here in Columbus or anywhere, wherever you're at, you know who I'm talking about. His name is Tom Hamilton. He does Indians baseball on the radio. WTAM 1100 out of Cleveland. So, Mr. Tom Hamilton, you're going up on my list. You've done a great job with the Indians organization. Keep it up. Number 4 on my list. Oh, baby, I gotta do this, baby. I'm gonna be a PCB here. He's a prime top player tonight here, baby. And you guys know who I'm talking about. Mr. Dick Vitale. He's one of the best guys in the business. I can listen to him all day. I mean, I would love to have an impersonation contest because he's great. I like the guy because he keeps the game interesting. I sometimes stay up late at night just to listen to him call. If I could listen to him all day, and if I could shake his hand and meet him in person, that would make my day. Number 3 on my list, and all you Los Angeles Dodger fans know who I'm talking about, Mr. Vin Scully. He was in the booth for the catch for the 81 NFC Championship game between Dallas and San Francisco. He's done a lot. He was there for a lot of the no hitters. He was there when he's seen the Dodgers up and he's seen them down. He was in the booth. He was there for Game 6 of the '86 World Series with Bill Buckner's error. He was in the broadcast booth with Kirk Gibson. Hit the home run over Oakland to give the Dodgers a 5-4 victory in Game 1. Eventually, the Dodgers will go on to win the series in 5. Number 2 on the list, Keith Jackson. Look what he's done. He's called college football. He's done it all. He's been there for Major League Baseball playoffs. He's called the World Series for ABC back in the day. He's done a lot of things. He's done a lot of college football. I remember one time he had to call. There was one time he actually told the story. The same night they had the Texas-Oklahoma game up in Austin. He had to go up to the Cotton Bowl in Dallas to call that game. Then he had to hurry up. But this is back in 1980, so they didn't have any of the extra money. This is back in the days when I think they only had like 3 networks: ABC, NBC, and CBS. So what happened was he had to call the River Shootout. He had to drive to the Cotton Bowl in Dallas to call the River Shootout. Then he had to get back to Houston that night to call Game 5 of the 1980 National League Championship Series between Houston and Philadelphia. That was one tired man. But he did his job. He's retired. Keith, my hat's off to you. Number one on my best list. And obviously, no surprise, his name, Jim McKay. He was there. He's called the Olympics. He's been there for the Olympics. He's been there for it all. He is called the Indianapolis 500 for the network. He was there when Gordon Johncock and Rick Mears had their 200-mile-an-hour photo finish in '82. He's seen it all. But what Jim McKay will be remembered for is what happened in Munich in '72 at the Olympic Games, when a group called Black September held the Israeli Olympic team hostage. They were on the air for almost 9 hours straight, and it was that day I'll never forget it. When the group named Black September, when they killed all the hostages, the Israeli Olympic team, they were all killed at the airport. It was 3:24 in the morning out in Munich. But here in the United States, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, for him to do that, he was cool under pressure. He was graceful when he was on the air. Look what he's done. He's in there for the Olympics. He was there. He's called the Kentucky Derby. He's called the Triple Crown races for horse racing. He's been there for the U.S. Open in golf. I mean, he's actually hit a golf. Jim McKay himself actually hit a golf ball over the Great Wall of China. And he's been in the booth at the Indianapolis 500. He's been there for it all. So, Jim, this morning, you, sir, are also going up on my wall of honor. And I want to thank you for what you've done for sports. You brought on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Look what you've done. So, with that in mind, I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in this morning. If you have a best list or a worst list of your own, I would love to hear from you. If you have a comment or if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those for you. If you have a comment, drop me a line. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Google+, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for this morning. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in. And this is Scott Manning saying have a wonderful day. You have a great day and a better one tomorrow. And I thank you, and you have a great day.